welcome each and every individual to Lesson 3, One System for Everything for Psychology of People, Unleashing Human Potential. I have done thousands of different lessons for hundreds of different courses, and this one's going to be mind-numbing. It seems like we're going over a lot of information in a short period of time. The reason it seems that way is, well, because we are. So put your seat belts on, get ready for the goosebump moments, because there's going to be a lot of them that are going to be coming through. So we've gone through the Lesson 1 and Lesson 2, and we're on Lesson 3, One System for Everything, the 530 Grid. When we take a look at this will connect all the different pieces together. But before we do that, let's make sure we do a strong review of Lesson 1 and Lesson 2. So Lesson 1 is the power of BOSS, the business operating system, the engine that runs our business. And so that's it consists of 3 elements: DNA for people, DNA for business, and then DNA for life. All right, so we got that down, I hope. Lesson 2 is 17 seconds for quantum thinking, which is the DNA for people, learning how to identify someone's personality in 17 seconds. Now, or we learned how to do it based on say hello. Like, that's even cooler, right? And so we did all of that. And so that's the first part of the 3 DNAs. And so it's the 4 different personalities, but really, 17 seconds for quantum thinking. So the question that we have is, have we internalized Lesson 1 and 2? Meaning, has it changed your life? Are you asking everybody you know these questions? Now, our experience is that if people aren't involved in community, they're not going to internalize this stuff. And so when we look at the internalization model, this is really important. And so if we haven't internalized Lesson 1 and 2, there's a high probability we're not going to internalize, Lesson 3 that we're going to be going through. And so it creates an awakening moment. So when we look at, are we questioning, are we creating awakening moments, the goosebumps, are we listening, the why, seeing insights, purification of intention, thinking radically differently, which gives us leverage, which gives us capability, which helps us to change and internalize quickly, which then leads to doing, which leads to failure, which leads to an awakening that, hey, I'm a human being and I want to grow, I need to grow, which then leads to ownership, which then leads to working harder, smarter on the things that have significance. It's not just working to make money, but working to connect into our life vision and then caring about people in a very different way. One system for everything, which is the DNA for business. And so, Tom, when you went ahead and saw the DNA for business the first time, your response, do you remember what your response was, Tom?
I thought I said it was like the DNA for business.
You actually did. That Tom's the one that gets credit for. When he saw that the first time, he said, Mark, I don't think you understand what you guys have here, what Life Masteries Legacy Partners has here. I'm like, okay. He says, no, this is amazing. I'm like, no, I know that. He's like, no, you don't understand. It's the DNA for business. It's the Holy Grail. And so when we look at one system for everything, anything having to do with earning more money, generating more sales, raising more revenue, anything having to do with money and people, the 530 grid is so powerful. Tom, why is it so powerful for people?
Well, because it lays it out and shows you exactly, what a company needs to do, especially a sales organization. And it tells you what things to do in order to make sure that you're successful.
Nicole, why is this so... Sorry, go ahead.
It's interesting because I was talking about the 5 part of the 530 grid yesterday with a broker, and it was interesting because when I walked him through it, and I've done this a number of times, it was like a light bulb went off. He goes, "Oh my God!" He says, "You're right. This would really increase my business." I said, "Well, then you're only seeing half of it." So it's kind of interesting to see reaction when somebody really gets what you're talking about.
Right? And it connects into clients, so it's used for clients. It's used for employees, contractors, vendors, referral partners, donors, volunteers, friends, even family, associations, any group of people. It connects into all of those things. Nicole, why is the 530 grid so valuable for nonprofit organizations?
Oh, if you think of everyone speaking the same language and accomplishing for the same thing, that's really hard to find when you're working with various parties, various agencies, and to have something like this to get everyone on the same page, the same goal, and speak the same language, it makes life 10 times easier.
And Paul, thank you, Nicole. And Paul, this is often the reality in business where it's not, we have 5 pipes in a pipeline and they're not lined up all well. This is the ideal where we're going to have the most profitability in a company. And anything where it's not in alignment is extra cost and or lost profit. Why is it, Paul, that it seems like it's so difficult for people to grasp this concept?
Well, I think, like other concepts, the concept itself isn't very complicated. We just tend to want to make it complicated.
I hope everyone understands the significance of what Paul said and internalizes what Paul just said. In the quantum thinking world, it's so strange where I've noticed as I've gone through the course Leverage and now going through the psychology of people, it's like my whole world is changing. And I'm starting to see that people make things complex that are very simple, and they make things simple that are complex, and that's not going to work well. And so when we look at the 530 grid, there's the 5 areas, very simple, and then you have 30 boxes, not so simple. And so again, anything having to do with people or money, the 530 grid will give you more of both. It's magical, the different elements, and when you get down into it, there's an unbelievable course through Life Masteries Institute that Tom and I taught actually 3 times, and it's 10 months to freedom. And it's going through 10 months, and Tom and I went through 3 times in a row, 3 years, where we taught all 30 boxes. And when you really understand the depth of the 30 boxes, it's so cool, it's so awesome. It's like, oh my gracious, this is amazing. So we're going to go into the full session here. Hopefully this whet your appetite, and you're like, okay, like Mark's absolutely right. I mean, if it seems like we're going over a lot of information in a short period of time, the reason it seems that way is because we are. So hold on, here we go.